Human capital is crucial in the successful rollout of IT. And that applies just as much to purchasing systems as it does to product systems, to payroll systems, to finance systems. It's a generic rule that I think today many IT professionals forget at their peril and wonder why we have failed implementations. The problem is not actually the ability to develop this very clever software. We're arguably at a cusp in technology now that the world has never seen. There is no shortage of very skilled people to put together very complex software. What we need to remember is that the people in an organization, and typically where large ERP systems are rolled out to tens of thousands of employees, for which this is one other system that they need to use along with the others, and all of which require time in their day and a focus from them to work on diligently, they need to be part of that process. And they are the human capital of the organization. And in banking, financial services, we don't sell actual physical products. We sell services. So people are our biggest asset because we need to offer those services, and our channel, our primary channel, supported by digital channels, is obviously our people. You still walk into a branch and you still approach a teller and they still provide you with service in a traditional banking environment. So when rolling out IT, optimizing the use of human capital requires a couple of key considerations. And this is all dealt with under the banner of change management. And if you look at standard program and project management methodologies, it's a key component. But again, change management is a technique that everyone on the project needs to adopt. So right at the beginning, and let's perhaps walk through the life cycle briefly, you'd have early consultation processes with key stakeholders and users. And you really need to make sure that you have sufficient time and space in the program plan to sit around a table and have a conversation and make sure that they feel invested as early on in that process, make sure that they feel consulted. Obviously, you want to minimize changes. If you're implementing a packaged software solution, you want to manage and facilitate a process whereby you don't end up in a custom build, because you want to reuse the best practice processes that come with that packaged software. And if people can then move to the next stage where they agree and they adopt and they understand what needs to be done, you then go into the execution and the building and the testing and the specifications. And typically that will require a subset of employees, and they will be closer to the project, and they will need to specify their requirements and test them and agree that they've been delivered. And once you're through that process, I suggest that the biggest impact, which is training and the actual rollout and adoption to your end users, is where change management comes to the fore. The tragedy is, though, that because IT projects generally are not managed as well as they could be, you find that the time in the plan becomes squeezed. And training then is just something that must happen overnight. And not enough training is done. Not enough investment in collective time and effort is made to ensure that people are afforded the opportunity to sit in a classroom environment, be shown the processes on the new system, have a discussion about how it changes from one day to the next, how what they were doing previously is now done in a better and more optimal way in the new system. And research shows that where the time is taken to bring people through that change curve, from being a little bit wary to understanding to adoption and then excitement about the new system, there are increased levels of adoption and better business value as a result of that early investment in IT. So human capital is probably the one deciding factor in the success of IT implementations, which tragically IT professionals don't actually ever receive formal training in. It's tended to be that gray middle ground that you bring on a training manager or a change manager or somebody to look at comms to deal with and handle and just bring the people with. But I would challenge IT professionals to say that each one of them must take ownership of the people that they're empowering with the new systems and processes. And Steve Jobs did a fantastic, he set a fantastic standard with regards to giving people what they want, and users adopted his product in an unprecedented fashion. And we need to be thinking about how we can get a lot more creative and make sure that, employees who are busy and harried and, have less and less time in their day, feel spoken to and consulted and engaged with in a meaningful way, not just as an end outcome for a project plan. So I've seen some spectacularly bad projects from that point of view, and I've seen some relatively good projects. And there's a common theme that the well-run projects consider the human capital, because they are the key to successful information technology rollouts in large organizations.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.